So we are here 2 weeks later. I've more or less cleaned everything using some, well, I used some old turpentine actually, bit of a faux pas. What I was waiting for globally though were these elastomers slash MCUs, the microcellular urethanes. I just finished my Shox Judy XC from 1995-6. So I want to get on with this, bang it out of the way, and then it's finished. All the parts are ready now. So there's not that much difference between the older Judy XC and this newer one. Big differences though are I guess the springs here on the top, and what else is there? Weirdly, for some reason, on the neutral shaft, you have this part, which in the 94 version is upside down the other way, and on this version, it's been weirdly put this way. I think it's called a top out bumper, number 20. So you can actually see that on on this manual that you can get online. You can see right there, number 20. This part here is reversed for some reason. I don't know why. So I got this. This is a soft version. I compared the older MCUs that I had with these ones, and the red, which is closer to a 60A, I believe in hardness, was closest, and this is softer. I decided to go for the softer just to see what that would be like. I was going to order this myself, but it came out to be the same price without cutting the parts and whatnot. So I ended up just buying these. Usually I would just get this from a supplier, but in France with the postage it actually was ridiculously more. So there you go. So we're gonna crack on with this. I need a couple of things to wipe down, finish off, and then we can start building. I'm gonna start with the actual harder part, the cartridge. Before we start working on the cartridge, you can actually remove the adjustment bolt that's on the interior. I just built this up, and this was the last step on the manual, and I didn't know that, so I had to restart over again. So remove this first before we do anything. Next, and this is what we're going to need to do. So you're going to have the cartridge here. This is going to go inwards towards this way. We want to essentially avoid having any air within the cartridge. You want it to be only oil. Usually there's a tool for that, but I don't have that obviously, so I'm going to try my best. So what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to fill up the cartridge with oil facing up, and so once I can get it to the other side, yeah, so pop that through on the other end here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and squeeze in as much oil as I can from the top here, pushing down the shaft to remove any air bubbles, using the 7.5 oil that I've got, and I've used a melted cup to help me put this in. And then on the other end we're going to use the fishing line to try and remove any air bubbles on the top, and we're going to be putting the last seal on the top, and hopefully that will work. So I've put this shaft all the way to the bottom, and I'm going to be filling up with oil. I'm not going all the way to the top yet, about 3/4. What I did last time was I lifted up the shaft, and by doing that it seems to put oil somewhere. I don't know where it's going. There you go. I just saw it suction up, and there's air bubbles now as well forming on the top, so we've definitely relieved some air from somewhere. Might do that one more time and really get that going in. Now we can refill it up again with some more oil, pretty much to the top, and yeah, like that. Now you're supposed to leave this settle to get rid of those air bubbles that are left on the top. So I'm going to leave that settle for now. I'm fairly impatient, so I'm going to guess that's fine. We're going to put that metal ring back on the top, and we're now going to put the seal with the fishing line on the inner diameter. You just want to put a little bit, a tip. That's literally, and this is what Shox recommends to do as well, from the looks of things, something like that. So I've done that now. So we're going to push down Make sure this is all the way to the bottom actually as well. Yeah. And let's go. Now, according to what they're saying, is that you need to put, you need to push down this seal so that there's 1 millimeter of cartridge body exposed. And that's because there's another small little part, plastic part that's going to go on the top of this that kind of slots in. So we're going to need to push that down fully. Right. And now we're going to, it says to remove the fishing line, which I'm doing. And we're going to put back the kind of adjustable inner bolt that goes into the shaft. Allen key wrench and go all the way to the bottom. Apparently that's what they're saying, till it bottoms out. Alright, well that's bottomed out. Okay, so what you should have is something like this. So it should be coming in and out. I don't know if that's fully properly done. So before we're going to put this in, this plastic part right here is also going to go on the shaft, and the reason we have a 1 millimeter space, I guess, is for this to kind of slot into the cartridge body perfectly and ready for installation. This is the other end, the neutral shaft. Here you have the shaft end plate, and on the other side of this cartridge, on this side, you'll need to also put one. So I'm going to put now a tiny bit of Teflon grease, which I think is pretty much close to Judy bar. And this one will also have that. This shaft guide, I think it's called, has an O-ring on it. It was damaged when I was taking it off. I think I mentioned that. And hopefully it can still function, and I have to source another one from somewhere because it's pretty annoying to find that. So we're going to put it back onto the, and we're going to put some grease on the rest. We're now going to install the upper tubes onto the crown in preparation to installing the cartridge and the neutral shaft. So make sure that you put the threaded part on the right side or right end. There you go. We're now going to put the cartridge into the top tubes. This doesn't seem to hold when I put it in, so I'm going to need to get the snap ring out now to hold it in place. Now we're going to put the wavy washer and the snap ring in. You're going to probably need some circlip tools to really do this properly. I don't know if that really makes a big difference though, as long as it's properly installed. So now that we've got that in, yeah, you can hear that when it's going into the ridge in the right place. We're now going to install the neutral shaft back into the your left, my right, etc. This one was a little bit harder to push inside, but I banged it with a hammer and it just it's gone in. And now we need to put the snap ring on the other side. Remember, sharp side facing outwards, and we need to get that to fit into the ridge that's on the interior of this tube. There, I can hear it clicking, so that's good as well. We're now going to put the bolts here on the top tube, so you can do that on the other side as well. So I removed some bushings on this these interior parts here. I have put some new grease inside to help it slide in, and you'll see on the bushings that one part's slightly slanted on the top, and that does indeed go on the top of facing upwards anyway. And you can do the same for the other side. Push them all the way in. Once you put the bushings in, you're going to want to put the dust wipers back on. I've also greased those up. Make sure they're in the right place, nice and pushed down. And after that you'll have a spring retainer that wraps around on the top. Now when you're removing them, they probably became too elastic and they're not going to be very tight. I've actually squashed them, and we're going to see now if that's going to hold. No, it doesn't. Okay. Oh well. I'm going to put these boots back onto the wipers here, so they wrap around at the bottom. It just seems easier to do this now than after. Okay, that's one, and I'll repeat the procedure on the other side. You're now going to want to grease up all these upper tubes. Again, you can put any grease that's not going to be harsh to plastics and seals. So you're going to hear the two shafts hitting the bottom of the lower tube here, and now we're going to proceed on to putting the bolts at the bottom. So I'm going to put the bolts now at the bottom to attach to the shaft. Remember that there's one bolt that's going to have a hole going through it, and that's to adjust. So this one's got no hole, and this is on my right, on the neutral shaft. Make sure this is actually lifted up, because when you're not lifted up completely, it's turning the shaft on the interior. And now same procedure on the cartridge side, and you want that not too tight, otherwise I think you break the plastic parts on the interior. Okay, so I've greased now the elastomers. I've put some grease also on the spring and the knob that we're going to push down now. Let's see what happens now. I'm going to just screw them down for the beginning. There. Same thing on the other side. Gently put that in. Okay. I'm now tightening these knobs up. There's so much grease that it's just easy. So I'm going to give this all a clean, and then we're going to see if this has all worked. I almost forgot the brake studs. Let's install them. Right, moment of truth. It looks like they are indeed bouncing, so that's way better than it was before. So I hope this helped you service your Shox Judy XC from 1997. I think these boots, I'm going to put some zip ties on them to hold them in place. I don't think there's anything else to say, so thank you for listening, and until next time, peace out.